And I'm on the go. Blowing them trees when I'm on the road. DJ spin it and they on the floor.
Gervonta Davis, Ryan Garcia. Is this the modern day Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo Alvarez? What's good, everybody? It's your boy Cardinal Red Sports. Let's talk about it. Alright, so we all know Gervonta Davis will be taking on King Ryan Garcia in April on the 15th. It's going to be a big fight. You know, this is a super fight in the sport of boxing. Even though there's no titles involved in this fight, this is going to be a super fight based off of the fanfare. And, you know, Gervonta Davis has one of the biggest fan bases at 135 pounds. And I think Ryan Garcia probably has the biggest fan base at 135 pounds. So there's no way you can say this is not a super fight. I anticipate a lot of people to tune in for this one. Now, whether they can actually hit that 1 million pay-per-view buy mark, you know, that's a different question, a different story. But I do think they're going to set some numbers. I think there's going to be some records set with this fight. I think they're going to do some pretty good numbers. And perhaps set, if not boxing history, you know, for the entire sport when it comes to pay-per-views, but maybe boxing history for the 135-pound division when it comes to pay-per-view buys. Now, when it comes to this fight being a modern-day version of Floyd Mayweather versus Canelo Alvarez. Why would I say that? Why do I think that? Basically, I feel like, you know, Gervonta Davis, although he's not as famous as Floyd Mayweather was when he fought Canelo Alvarez, I do feel like he's on that level to where, you know, he's one of the most famous people within the sport. I just look at him kind of like, you know, the modern day Floyd. You know, he hasn't accomplished as much as Floyd. He hasn't won as many titles as Floyd. But as far as popularity goes, as far as likability, watchability, you know, even though I feel how I feel about Mayweather, you know, everybody else has their feelings about Mayweather. And I can't deny that Mayweather was the most popular and most liked guy in boxing at the time. When it comes to black people, I'm not going to say everybody, but the people who didn't like him were still buying and watching his fights. So it wasn't like they wasn't supporting his career. But I kind of look like at Gervonta Davis as the pinnacle of that for the 135-pound division. Now, once again, he might not be as accomplished as Floyd was at that point in his career, but as far as popularity goes, I think he's probably as famous or maybe even more famous than Floyd was, because Floyd was hated by a lot of those people, and I think Gervonta, he's more loved by people than Floyd was at that point in his career. So, you know, that's one reason. And then you got Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia, I think, is kind of at the same point in his career that Canelo was when he fought Floyd Mayweather. Now, Canelo wasn't as popular as he was, you know, in the following years when he fought Mayweather, but I think he was at that point to where he was about to explode as in popularity anyway. I think even if he wouldn't have fought Floyd, his popularity was going to explode, you know, no matter what. So, because I think if he didn't fight Floyd, he would have ended up fighting Manny Pacquiao anyway at that point. So I think his popularity once again would have exploded anyway. So I kind of look at King Ryan as the same as Canelo at that point. You know, he might not be, once again, as, like I said about Gervonta, he might not be as refined as a boxer as Canelo was at that point. But Canelo was kind of green at that point still, you know, and when he lost to Floyd, I think he was so green, he was still so green that it didn't affect him popularity-wise. It actually made him more famous, because I think Floyd ended up retiring after that fight and then came back. So, you know, it wasn't like the loss took a big toll on Canelo. It actually made him more famous, losing to Mayweather. And I think he gained a new audience losing to Mayweather. You know, it didn't hurt him in any way. You know, it would have helped him if he beat him. I think if he would have beat Mayweather, he would have probably be the most famous, professional fighter in the world. But he lost, and he still became one of the most famous professional fighters in the world. So Ryan Garcia, I think, he could learn a thing or two from that, and he could actually become more famous losing to Gervonta Davis than actually beating Gervonta Davis, which is crazy to think about. And that's one of the reasons why I even brought this topic up. Is this the modern day Mayweather versus Canelo? Because even if, once again, Gervonta Davis beats Ryan Garcia, he could, depending on how Gervonta beats him. Now, let's say Gervonta doesn't knock him out. They go 12 rounds. Gervonta ekes out a 12th round victory. I don't think that's going to hurt Ryan Garcia's popularity. I actually think it's going to help his popularity, because people will say, well, he went 12 rounds with, a knockout artist who's been known to knock out heavyweight fighters. And, I've been watching some videos on Gervonta and old videos, and I didn't know that back in the day, a couple of years ago, that he sparred a heavyweight and ended up knocking dude out in the sparring session. And even Mike Tyson was kind of enamored and intrigued by that whole situation, and actually challenged Gervonta Davis to a sparring match. And Gervonta said he would do it. He actually agreed to it, and he said as long as they didn't bring no cameras in, that he would be down to spar with Mike Tyson. So just think about that. A guy of that caliber, if you was able to, beat him, it would be one thing. But if you lost to him and didn't get knocked out and was actually able to go 12 rounds and absorb all of that, I think that's going to boost Ryan Garcia's popularity immensely. And plus, the people that have never watched Ryan, that are Gervonta Davis fans, that are only watching Ryan because he's across from Davis, then they're going to get an opportunity to see Ryan for the first time and evaluate Ryan's skill sets. And if he's able to go 12 rounds, they're going to have a new respect for Ryan Garcia, perhaps become new fans. They might not drop Gervonta Davis as their favorite, but they might become new fans of Ryan Garcia. Now, there is a race element involved in all of this because, once again, this is a Hispanic versus an African American. And there's always been a dynamic in the sport of boxing when it comes to blacks and Hispanics. Unfortunately, it's that dynamics in the hood life too, because when you run across Hispanics in everyday life, even in the hood, unless you grew up with those guys, they were your neighbors, you're in the same gang or something, Hispanics and blacks usually don't mix. They don't intermingle a lot, unfortunately. Because I love to deal with some Hispanic females, you feel? That's neither here nor there. But unfortunately, they don't mingle too much. And when it comes to talking boxing, it becomes very racial, and a lot of hate gets thrown in there. It's horrible that it's that way, but in the sport of boxing, it's just that way. So there's a lot of dynamics that play in this fight. I think at the end of the day, both of these guys are going to benefit from each other, though. I think Gervonta is going to benefit from all of those fans, all those Instagram fans who might be one-time watchers of boxing. They might not tune in to boxing a lot, but with a superstar fight and their guy being in a superstar fight, I think a lot of those people are going to tune in. And then you got the real boxing fans, the Gervonta Davis fans. He's got a lot. He set records up in Washington in the arena that he's been fighting in for the past couple of fights. I believe he set a record in the Hector Garcia fight, and I think I can't remember his name, but the fight before that, he set a record as well for that arena. So, going to be interesting to see. You got the guy setting the gate numbers versus the guy bringing in the Instagram followers, millions of them. So, this fight, I think, will end up being a modern-day Mayweather, Canelo, and I think the winner will ultimately be probably the next 135-pound champion. You can quote me on that. As a matter of fact, quote me on that. I think the winner of this fight will end up fighting Devin Haney for those titles and will most likely win. Either one of them. But I'm picking Gervonta Davis. But if Ryan Garcia pulls it off, then hey, you can't argue or bet against Ryan Garcia at that point. So I would favor him to beat Devin Haney at that point. So y'all let me know what y'all think about all that down in the comment section below. Hit that like button for me, share. Subscribe. Holler at me on all social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. More than likely to get a response on the tube, so holler at me over there. If you want to collab, hit my Gmail, flockofcards@gmail.com, and we are
Real big blocks, big Chevy, big blade, big beef, big E, big money, big blade, big diamond, big wheels, big brains, big shine, big chains, big gold, big flow, big time.
Hey yo, take a hit of the weed and contemplate. Take a hit of the weed and contemplate. How I'm about to make the whole city congregate. Where I'm from, constant hate is commonplace. See the look upon my face, my ganja's great. KD told me that he was down south and he heard about keys through word of mouth. Now that's the type of shit to let you know I'm on the grind. A lot of niggas like I bet he blow, it's about time. Be patient, I took a vacation and came back with something for the ones that was hating. You still see me blowed at the radio station, but if they don't play it, dog, ain't no complaining shit. I'm still knocking them, ain't no way you're stopping them. Chicks like cars, you with keys, you can hop in them. And you a true bitch, I stay off the brandy like you rich, trying to get a few chicks. I got some niggas on my team, and my niggas is me. I got some bitches on my team, and my bitches is me.